By clicking on this video, I'm guessing you think I'm the brutally honest voice teacher. Well, I am honest, but I'm not brutal. Hi singers, if we've never met before, I'm Vanessa Ledesma-Coffin. I'm a voice teacher and vocal coach and music director and choir director in Los Angeles, California. I've trained singers who have never taken a voice lesson before to singers in major commercial bands and on Broadway. I like to chat about music pedagogy and the different schools of vocal technique. The voice teacher we're talking about today is Lillian Nordica and her book Hints to Singers. When I first read this book, I was obsessed. I'd already been teaching for a couple years, but this book was different from the other vocal pedagogy books I'd read that were more academically focused. Nordica gives a real, raw advice from singer to singer. I'll give you the advice in this video so you don't have to read it, but if you do want to grab your own copy, the Amazon link is in the description box below. Lillian Nordica was one of the foremost dramatic sopranos of the 19th and early 20th centuries. She started her training at the New England Conservatory of Music and studied under an Irish voice teacher she referred to as Mr. O'Neill. Lillian was a dedicated voice student in her youth. When her ambitions outgrew her community, she, along with her mother, sacrificed and struggled while she studied with prominent teachers in Europe. She studied with San Giovanni in Milan primarily, then had language, voice, and music theory lessons with rotating teachers. Okay, enough of the background. Let's get into the harsh truths by this brutally honest teacher. Harsh truth number 1. Becoming a trained singer takes time. It is a mistake to do things in anticipation. The constant dread of not being able to accomplish things exhausts our energies before we come to them and prevents us from gaining the knowledge necessary to do them when they are actually reached. After we have fully mastered the material of expression, it is time enough to begin to think of expressing ourselves. And I had to grow up in music gradually and with patient toil, and that is the only way. There should be small, cautious, conscientious beginnings, the doing of all things to the limit of one's ability and a gradual growth. Then the career will take care of itself. You can't get around it. No matter whose method you study or what someone promises you, understanding how to use your voice takes time. Instead of pushing your body past what it's capable of, enjoy the process. All right, harsh truth number 2. It can be hard to find a good teacher. I got 2 quotes for you. A good teacher is a good teacher wherever found. Having found a good teacher, a fact that must be proved by your all-around progress and by the approval of your own intelligence, remain with that teacher until you are thoroughly grounded in your art. And a great many men can talk quite intelligently on voice production, and yet cannot explain correctly how to produce a single singing note. A voice is seldom completely ruined or permanently injured by self-study. It is only when the so-called voice builders come in that the worst frequently happens. Use your discernment when in lessons with a voice teacher. If you don't feel like you're growing or learning, then move on to another teacher. And if you see if they're better for you. If you're leaving lessons with pain in your throat or like there's something in there you can't swallow, I'm gonna say you should probably find another teacher. Moreover, your teacher should treat you with respect. For some reason, there are voice teachers whose critiques cross the line of constructive into ridicule. I've had so many students come in with a fear of singing because of the unhelpful harshness of a previous voice teacher. But they remembered a time when they loved singing, so they want to work past it. No teacher has a right to ridicule his pupil. He may indeed, in order to impress a fault, be required to exaggerate it, and he has very often to point out faults, but he has never a right to ridicule. It is difficult enough to rise up and be the cynosure of all eyes without feeling that one may make oneself ridiculous. Throughout Hints to Singers, Nordica reiterates the ability for singers to think for themselves. As you begin your singing journey, a teacher who can guide you down the right path is indispensable, but use these lessons to create your own standards for yourself and your capabilities. Okay, harsh truth number 3. You need a disposition that can handle criticism. While you shouldn't accept ridicule, you should accept feedback and guidance. A disposition that will take criticism is a requisite. Nothing has ever yet been learned by sulking. If one has not such a character by nature, one can gain it through self-schooling. When you're training your voice, you also are training your ear and your internal awareness. An experienced teacher is going to recognize elements of your technique you don't have the ability to recognize yet. Listen to their constructive feedback, and soon, but not too soon, you will. All right, harsh truth number 4. Don't give in to your big emotions. Lack of self-control with the girl pupils, it is frequently the case, particularly at the outset, that they give way to their tears, especially in their lessons. Instead, it should be their endeavor to comprehend calmly that which is being taught, unhampered by the fear of being found fault with or of the inability to fathom or to understand. Otherwise, not only do they retard their progress, but they spend their money for the privilege of weeping, rather than gaining a knowledge. No knowledge has yet been acquired by lamenting. Use all your powers of intelligence, and with such a spirit, you must in time accomplish that which you set out to do. Oof. If I wasn't totally guilty of that in school. Well, also, currently. We're sensitive artists, I get it. But we cannot allow ourselves to bring these emotions into the studio. Singers too often waste time in nervous worry and in the constant fear that they will not be able to attain certain ends in a certain time. Nothing can be done in singing within a given time. One can put no limit upon oneself. If instead of wasting hours in worry, that time be devoted to study with calmness, energy, and intelligence, the desired will be eventually achieved. If not this year, then it will be in 12 months later. Okay. Harsh truth number 5. Self-discipline in all facets is a must. A regular life is a first necessity of success. The importance of a proper diet, exercise, and rest has been so frequently dwelt upon as to not need full repetition here. But the fact may well be noted that physical culture in moderation in its modern form is its absolute and essential to the development of the singer as it is to the development of the athlete. Each muscle plays its part in singing, where there is no other instrument than the body to rely upon. I often tell my students, the voice is the only instrument inside of our bodies. How we treat our body is how we treat our instrument. Sacrificing sleep every night, going weeks without any movement, eating food that makes you feel terrible. This is all going to have a significant effect on your ability to vocalize with freedom. Early discipline is most necessary. One cannot live as one desires. One must learn to give up for the sake of the future and for future advantage. Today, one must be willing to sacrifice pleasure that one may be able to do the work of tomorrow. But I think we can still sneak in a little fun. All right, harsh truth number 6. The voice isn't especially delicate. Before I make it seem like we have to treat our vocal cords like they're Fabergé eggs, they are resilient, magical, tiny but impactful parts of our anatomy. The voice is no more delicate than any other organ in the body. Voice endurance. If you have not a voice that will stand the exercise of an hour or two in the morning, you had much better give up all idea of becoming a singer. For if the voice will not endure that degree of starting in the beginning, it will certainly not withstand the demands of an operative career. Rest between the intervals during the morning study when you begin to feel tired, and then start afresh. Those things which affect the other organs injuriously naturally affect the voice as well. One cannot eat, drink, or give way to anything in excess without injury to it, nor can one overtrain. As to the question of vocal fatigue, it is unnecessary for anyone to set a time limit on the amount you should sing yourself. You will know when you have sung enough. All right, our last one. Harsh truth number 7. Sing with ease. Sing with ease. In my experience, I have met many who repeat certain phrases again and again in a wrong way. Hearing the manner in which these phrases were done, I asked, "Does it not hurt you?" The reply would be, "Yes, I have a pain in my throat." "But it must not hurt you there." "Well," would perhaps be the answer, "I think it is only because I have not sung for a week." That is a mistake. You may be fatigued in different parts of your body, chest, jaws, diaphragm, but you should sing with ease. Otherwise, the way in which you are singing is a wrong one. Just this week, I was working with a young student, a teenager, who, when I met her, she was very shy and insecure about her voice. But she took feedback, and she took feedback well, even on hard days. She'd always find a way to implement it. She practiced consistently and always pushed herself without going overboard. This week, she found her mix, and she was so confused. She was like, "I've never felt that before. It's scary." I replied with, "Yeah, it's like a trust fall with your voice." And she said, "That's the best way to put it." Her mix was beautiful, clear, easy, and powerful, but none of the effort was in her throat. In order for her to achieve this, she had to get all of her foundational accuracy in place. Then she was able to achieve it with a scary amount of ease. I hope Madame Nordica's advice has given you some food for thought on your vocal journey. I still have 5 pages of quotes that I just love from Hints to Singers, just on this topic alone. If you'd like to see it, there is a link to my blog post with all of the quotes in the description box. She also has a section on how to be professional. If you'd like to be notified when that episode comes out, and if you enjoyed this one, I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe. All right, one last quote from Madame Nordica. "Love of art is the secret of true study. That art is not to be looked upon as a vehicle for making money, but as something to be done beautifully and to be done well for its own sake alone." That's all I have for you today. Until next time, keep learning, keep singing, and keep making the world a little kinder through music. See you in the next one.